All right, factoring by grouping. Here we go. Number 1. 2b cubed minus 6b squared minus 5b plus 15. So in this problem, the difference is you have 4 terms here. All right, and we're going to factor this by grouping. What we're going to do is we're going to split these terms up. We're going to look at the first 2 terms by themselves. So if you want to draw a little wall there, you can do that, right? So if you just have, so I'm just going to concentrate on this right now, 2b cubed minus 6b squared. If you were to factor out of just these 2 terms, right? 2 and 6, what can you factor out? 2. B cubed and b squared, what can you factor out? B squared. If I factor out 2b squared, again, I reminded you guys yesterday, you can take, good strategy is to put 2b squared underneath, so that way you realize what you're dividing out of this, right? Factoring out is dividing out. If you divide out or factor out 2b squared from 2b cubed, what are you left with?
B minus 3.
You're left with b minus, the other side, 6 divided by 2 is 3, b squared divided by b squared is just 1, so 2b squared times the quantity b minus 3. Now let's do the other part. Now we have minus 5b plus 15. Whatever your sign is here, okay, no matter if it's positive or negative, always start out by factoring out that sign. All right, so you're going to factor out a negative, and then what else? You have 5b and 15. What can you factor out?
So negative 5.
So you can factor out negative 5. Again, I'm going to divide both of these by negative 5 and divide this by negative 5 because I factored out negative 5. If I divide negative 5b divided by negative 5, what do I get?
B.
B. Positive 15 divided by negative 5?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Very good. Now I have 2 terms here. This is one term, 2b squared times b minus the quantity b minus 3, all one term. And this is another term, negative 5 times b, the quantity b minus 3. In these 2 terms, okay, so far we've been factoring out monomials, but now they have both what in common?
B minus 3.
On the inside, it's both B minus 3.
Okay, so they have the quantity b minus 3 both in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out b minus 3 from both these terms. So if I factor out b minus 3 from both of these terms, my b minus 3 simplifies. What's left is going to be in parentheses. What's left on this side? 2b squared. B minus 3 simplifies here, minus 5. So I have the quantity b minus 3 times the quantity 2b squared minus 5. Alright, so number 2. 3r cubed plus 18r squared plus 5r plus 30. Okay, so again I'm going to have 4 terms. Once you see 4 terms, something that should trigger is that I'm going to possibly be factoring by grouping if it works. So I'm going to split this up. You don't have to draw this wall, but I'm just going to draw it now as I'm explaining this. So you have 3r squared plus 18r squared. So I'm going to concentrate on this piece first. 3r cubed plus 18r squared. What can I factor out of 3r cubed and 18r squared?
3r squared.
Beautiful. I'm going to factor out 3r squared. Whatever's left is in parentheses, so I'm going to divide this by 3r squared. I'm going to divide this term by 3r squared. When I divide both those terms by 3r squared, my first term I'm left with r plus
6.
beautiful, r plus 6. My second term here is positive 5r plus 30. Again, in your second group, right away factor out whatever sign there is. My leading sign is a positive, so I'm going to factor out a positive. Okay, that's your plus sign for your 2 groups. So positive, what can I factor out? 5r and 30.
5.
Beautiful. I'm going to factor out a positive 5 out of both of these. You don't have to write the positive, but I'll just do it here. If I factor out positive 5, what am I left with?
R plus 6.
Excellent, r plus 6. Now again, I have 2 terms here. I have 3r squared times the quantity r plus 6, and I have positive 5 times the quantity r plus 6. What do both these terms have in common?
Quantity of R plus 6.
Excellent, they both have the quantity r plus 6 in common, so I'm going to factor out the quantity r plus 6 from both of these. If I factor out the quantity r plus 6 from my first term, 3r squared times the quantity r plus 6, what's left?
3r squared plus 5.
3r squared, that simplifies, plus r plus 6 simplifies, plus 5. How can I check my work? I could just distribute, and I should get back to the original here. Okay, number 3. 72xy plus 12x minus 48y minus 8. So now we have 4 terms and more than one variable. All right, same idea. Still factor this by grouping. I'm going to create my wall here. 72xy plus 12x. 72 and 12, what do they both have in common? What can I factor out?
12x.
Beautiful. I could take out 12x from both of these. If I take a 12x from both terms, what's left? So 72 divided by 12,
6.
6. X is simplified, so 6y plus.
Plus
Excellent. Plus 1. Okay, make sure you have that 1 there. 12x divided by 12x is 1. My second group leads with what? My second group leads with a negative. Factor out that negative. So I'm going to factor out negative something. What am I going to factor out from 48 and 8?
Negative
Beautiful. I'm going to factor out negative 8. So factor out negative 8 from both of these terms. Okay, what am I left with? Negative 48y divided by negative 8y. Negative 48y divided by negative 8y, I should get a positive 6y. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 plus 1. Okay, so now I have 2 terms. They both have the quantity 6y plus 1 in common. So I'm going to factor out the quantity 6y plus 1. If I factor out 6y plus 1 from both of these, question becomes, what's left? For my first group,
That's not what we're.
my first group here,
12x
12x
minus 8.
minus 8. So in this problem we had 6y plus 1, the quantity, and the quantity of 12x minus 8. The second quantity, 12x minus 8, you can factor out. Again, what can you factor out of there? 4. So you can simplify this again. So I'm going to leave my 6y plus 1 here. If I factor out a 4 from here, I'm going to get 4 times the quantity 3x minus 2 times the quantity 6y plus 1. And that will be considered completely factored. Alright, fourth example. xu plus 15yv plus 3xv plus 5yu. We're noticing here that the first 2 terms do not have a common factor. The variables are not the same. Xu and yv are not the same. The last one, xv and yu, are not the same. So in this case, you can rearrange the order. So we could change this any way we want. So we could say xu plus, now which one of these actually has, well, there's 2 terms. You have 3xv and 5yu both have a common factor. You could choose either one.
It's easier to choose 3x because 15y goes with 5.
Perfect. So we're going to choose 3xv because 15yu will also go with 5yu. So xu plus 3xv, putting those 2 together, plus 15yv plus 5yu. So I rearranged the order of these 4 terms. Now in my first group, xu plus 3xv, what can I factor out of here?
X.
I can factor out x. So factoring out an x, what am I left with? After I factor out the x, I'm left with,
U plus 3V.
excellent, u plus 3v. My second group, positive 15yv plus 5yu. What can I factor out of here? Again, always leave with a sign.
5Y.
Positive 5y. Factoring out a positive 5y. What am I left with? Go ahead.
3V plus U.
Beautiful. 3v plus u. Now, this one says u plus 3v. This one says v plus u. Are those the same?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So if I want to just rewrite this as x times the quantity 3v plus u, I can do that. Plus 5y times 3v plus u, just so they look alike. Now, of these 2 terms, what can I factor out of both of these? Yep.
U plus 3, or 3V plus U.
Good. I can factor out the quantity 3v plus u. Factoring out the quantity 3v plus u from both of these, I'm left with the quantity of x plus 5y. Check each one, make sure there's nothing else you can factor out. 3v plus u, completely factored. X plus 5y is completely factored. So this would be your final answer.